Sometimes it takes witnessing tragedy to truly understand the importance of safety, caution, and responsibility on the road. The firetruck incident, California, USA. A routine night drive on the 15 freeway in Rancho Cucamonga, California, turned into a deadly inferno. It all started with a motorcyclist and a semi-truck. The exact reason isn't clear. No one knows if the biker swerved, miscalculated, or just didn't see the truck coming. But what we do know is that he collided with the big rig at freeway speed, which is anywhere from 65 to 85 miles per hour. The impact was devastating, as if smashing into a semi-truck on a motorcycle isn't already bad enough. The biker would be trapped underneath the vehicle while its diesel leaked out of its fuel tank. And unfortunately for him, sparks from the accident would light both his motorcycle and the 30,000-pound semi-truck up in a blaze. The truck driver was quick enough to escape, but once again, since the biker was trapped, he was engulfed in what would be known as one of the biggest fires the freeway had seen in years. This fire was so big that it took 3 fire engines to try to control the blaze, and the highway was shut down for hours. When they finally arrived at his body, they immediately called it. From this, we can learn that highway riding demands maximum caution, constant attention, and defensive driving. Every second counts, and negligence can lead to consequences beyond imagination. The Face Incident, Turkey. In the summer of 2021, on a remote highway in Turkey, a young man deeply in love with his motorcycle woke up to a bright sunny day and decided that it was the best time to take his bike out for a spin. A nice leather jacket with protective boots, gloves, and a helmet was what this man could have quickly thrown on before going out for the ride. Just kidding. He decided that he didn't want to wear any of that, since it was a hot summer day. But on the bright side, at least he decided to keep his helmet on, right? After making sure that he was wearing no protective gear at all. This rider would then take his sport bike for a nice calm ride of 120 miles per hour. After hitting the highways, the rider couldn't contain himself and began speeding as fast as possible on his bike. However, unbeknownst to him, a steep turn with a guardrail would appear on the highway out of nowhere. Unable to correct his path in time, he was flung from the bike and held face first into the corner of a steel guardrail. The impact was so violent that it completely removed the entire front of his head and face. His eyes, nose, jaw, and facial skin were instantly torn away, leaving only the back of his skull intact. Bystanders who arrived moments later could hardly process what they were seeing. It looked less like an accident and more like a war zone. They searched for his body, and upon a glimpse, were instantly traumatized, since it didn't really look like a human anymore. Bystanders did what they could, but unfortunately he never had a chance. Emergency responders pronounced him unresponsive at the scene. This tragic event, while horrifying to imagine, teaches us an important lesson. Even small protective decisions can mean the difference between life and death. Wearing full protective gear, being cautious, and respecting the power of speed are not optional, they are essential. Like the Phuket incident, Thailand. Just past midnight on April 1st, 2025. In Phuket, Thailand, the streets were mostly empty. The air was heavy and the night felt slower than it actually was. But not for one guy. His rider was flying down Bypass Road on a red and black Honda Forza. Probably just out for a ride, maybe trying to clear his head. Maybe just pushing the throttle for the thrill of it. Whatever the reason, he was moving fast. Very fast. Then in a split second, everything went wrong. He lost control of the bike. And with no time to correct and no time to react, he slammed straight into an electricity pole. The crash wasn't just bad, it was horrific. Impact was so violent that it cut his body in half. His upper half was found under the pole, its lower half thrown almost 200 feet down the road. His heart and organs were scattered across the scene. And somehow his helmet was still on, but it didn't save him. Not from that. They later confirmed he was a Russian national. They never released his name and just let his story be another brutal reminder of how unforgiving speed can be. From this event, we learn that no thrill is worth risking your life, and riding at night requires extreme caution and full awareness of your surroundings. Speed can never replace responsibility. The haircut incident, Brazil. In Manicapuru, Brazil, a small riverside town that doesn't usually make international headlines, would go viral for once, but for all the wrong reasons. A man was riding his motorcycle through the city streets, and from the looks of it, he wasn't really going slow. While another biker was trying to make a left turn, the man unknowingly would get into a head-on collision with him. The crash would be so forceful that it would launch him right off of his bike, straight onto his head. And surprisingly, the accident wasn't too detrimental. He only suffered a couple of cuts and sprains to his body. That's what I would say if he was wearing a helmet. But once again, this rider decided to ride without one. So instead, when he crashed and landed on his head, the force of the impact was so intense that it ripped the skin right off his scalp. It wasn't just a cut or a gash. His scalp was completely peeled back, exposing raw bone. And when I say raw bone, I literally mean that his skull, muscle, and the whole horrifying anatomy of a human head were exposed to the world. A lot of people were confused by the bizarre nature of the accident, and couldn't really understand how it could happen to a person. But horrifyingly enough, it happens a lot. The injury is called degloving. Imagine the skin on your body being torn off like a glove. It's probably not the best thing to imagine, but that's what doctors describe it as. And that's what happened to this man. This teaches an important lesson. Helmets are not optional. Your head is irreplaceable, and one small decision can prevent catastrophic injuries. Respect the rules of the road at all times. Sign incident. Thailand. Around 2019, just outside Bangkok, Thailand, where traffic moves fast and helmet laws are loosely followed, a guy not wearing a helmet was riding at high speed. While going down the road, his bike randomly hit a pothole. Attempt to avoid it went horribly wrong. He swerved heavily and was launched off his bike so forcefully that he went flying for a few seconds. This might sound fun in theory, like bungee jumping or skydiving, but reality is much harsher. He hit a road sign headfirst, perfectly decapitating his head and leaving his body continuing on with momentum. Disturbingly, his head actually hit the sign so hard it became stuck. Seasoned first responders were traumatized. Sadly, he passed away. This reminds us that anticipating road hazards, obeying speed limits, and always riding responsibly are non-negotiable for survival. The paper incident in China. In late 2015, a motorcyclist in Shenzhen, a busy Chinese city, was on his way to work when he encountered heavy traffic in a very large cement mixing truck. As is common in densely populated urban cities, he began lane splitting between traffic to get through cars. Funnily enough, lane splitting is generally safe when done carefully. But in this case, when the light turned green, he accidentally dropped his bike in front of the truck. Panic exploded among bystanders, but it was too late. All 12 wheels of the 30,000-pound truck trampled his body. The rider wasn't just crushed, he was effectively flattened into the pavement, no thicker than a sheet of paper. City sanitation workers and police had to scrape his remains off the road. This teaches a critical lesson. Even small mistakes in a crowded city can have deadly outcomes. Awareness, patience, and caution are essential for survival on busy streets. Closing line lesson summary. Each of these stories is a harsh reminder that speed, recklessness, and ignoring safety rules have consequences, but they also provide invaluable lessons. Wear protective gear, respect traffic laws, ride responsibly, anticipate hazards, and never take risks with your life. Learning from others' mistakes can help prevent tragedy in your own journey. And that is the most important lesson we can carry forward.